A very good afternoon to one and all joined here. I'm Priyadarshini, I'm from the Zoho Books team. So in today's session, we will be exploring the advanced inventory features which are available in Zoho Books and the reports relating to it. So in the last session, we had explored about the native inventory modules and how it can be used, how the inventory is tracked, what are the reports which are available. Some of the native reports were discussed. So in today's session, we will be talking more about the advanced inventory add-on which can be enabled in Zoho Books and how these reports can help you track the inventory efficiently. So let's begin the session now. In the previous session, we had explored about the inventory reports in Zoho Books. So we have already discussed about some reports here in inventory module. So we talked about the native inventory features, how to create an inventory item, how is the inventory being tracked, that is we use the FIFO method, how you can check the product sales, also the stock summary reports, all this was discussed. In today's session, we are going to divide it into two parts. First is the advanced inventory reports. So the reports discussed here would be batch details report, missing advanced inventory tracking details report, and the warehouse report. These three reports are used to track the advanced inventory, and this report will give you an overview of all of these details. And secondly, we'll discuss two native reports which are available in Zoho Books itself. You need not enable the inventory add-on, which was not covered in the last session. So those two reports are landed cost summary and the ABC classification. So in the first half, we will cover about the advanced inventory tracking features and the reports. And second part, we'll discuss about the native inventory report. There is two of them, that is landed cost summary and the ABC classification. Now to begin with, let me tell you how to enable the inventory add-on. All you have to do is navigate to settings, preferences. In preferences under general, you will find this option called Zoho inventory add-on. You can enable it here. So when can you enable this inventory add-on in Zoho Books is that you'll have to be in the premium plan of Zoho Books and any paid plan in Zoho Inventory. Also, if you are using the elite and ultimate plans of Zoho Books, this module would be enabled by default. So what is the purpose of bringing in the Zoho inventory add-on into Zoho Books? We are all aware that we have a product called Zoho Inventory, right? Wherein we use it for stock tracking, stock managing purposes. We have certain modules there. So those native modules can be included in Zoho Books itself. Instead of navigating between books and inventory and passing the entries, you can bring in those native modules in Zoho Books itself and view certain reports. What modules would be enabled if you select the Zoho inventory add-on? Item groups, composite items, packages, pick lists, shipments, purchase receipt, sales return and transfer order. These modules will be enabled in Zoho Books itself. So we'll be looking into detail about each of these modules right now. So I've just enabled the advanced inventory add-on. Once I enable the inventory add-on, we're all aware how to create individual items in Zoho Books. We have two more options here, which is nothing but the item group and the composite item. Let me discuss about item group first. So let's take an example. You own a retail store wherein you sell clothes. So there could be various clothes which are selling, and in this, let's assume you are selling now t-shirts. In the same brand, you might have multiple attributes corresponding to it, right? For instance, you can have different colors of the same brand t-shirt. You can have different sizes. So here I've given two attributes, which is color, and I've given two options there. And similarly, I've given size and I've given three options there. As and when I give options, automatically these items will get created. So it would be difficult for you to create each of these items individually, and there are high chances of missing out any one of the item. So for instance, as and when I give the options here, that is as and when I give the color and size options, automatically the item will get created here. You can give your cost price, selling price, HSN code, all of this in a single page. Also, you can even update the opening stock. So in the next page, which will be open, you will be able to update the opening stock of all these items. So you can see that I can update the opening stock and the opening stock rate per unit. So this is the purpose of item groups. If you're selling out a similar item but which has certain variations in it, you can create item groups. One more important feature which I want to talk about is the composite item. Basically, what is a composition? When you combine one or two products, it's called a composition, right? So similarly, composite items helps you to combine two or more products. For instance, here I've taken laptop accessories. So what I've done is I've created two individual items and I'm combining it to sell it as a combo. For instance, here I have a laptop and a mouse which I'm selling out as a combo. So here what you have to do is you need to name this composite item. You can give the SKU in which unit you're going to be selling it, and then you can enter the individual items corresponding to this composite item. I've entered one quantity of laptop and one quantity of mouse here, and I can fetch the sales information and purchase information from the individual prices of these items. Also, I can mention all the other required information like the tax rates, etc. And I can save this. Now what will happen is I've created the inventory item, a composite item. So how will the stock tracking be done here? Because we will not be purchasing this combo item, right, from our vendors. I would only be purchasing laptop separately and mouse separately. How will the stock of this particular item increase? So now let's see that the stock on hand for this particular item is currently 1. I'll have to increase it now. And also, you can just view the stock of this particular item, that is laptop and mouse. Currently it is 20 and 26. Let me show you how to decrease the stock of these two items and increase the stock of the laptop accessories, that is the composite item. You will have to create a bundle here. So you can just click on create bundle. All the details will get populated automatically based on the end details you have entered. So I can enter the bundling number. I can enter how much quantity I'll have to bundle. So based on the stock available in your warehouse, the number of bundles which can be created is displayed here. So I'm just going to bundle one quantity. I've entered laptop, mouse, my items which are that is a part of this composite item, and I'm just saving this bundle. Now the bundle will be created. As soon as the bundle is created, you can check the stock of this item. It is 2 now. Similarly, you can check the stock of the individual items. So it is 19 and it is 25. It has reduced by 1. So whenever you have to increase the composite item quantity, you'll have to create a bundle. And in your sales transactions, you can associate this bundle. Let's see how this is how this is being reflected in our FIFO cost lot tracking report. In this particular report, you would be able to view the quantity from which it is being taken. So I can see the bundle here and the laptop accessories, and it is increased by 1, and it is the total. So whenever I sell out, the product will be displayed corresponding to this bundle. Now we just discussed about the item groups and the composite items which are available and how the inventory would be tracked for these two. Next, we'll go into the reports and discuss about the advanced inventory reports available in Zoho Books. The first report which we are going to discuss is the batch details report. So before we dive into the batch details report, let me tell you a feature in this advanced inventory tracking called batch tracking. So what is this batch tracking? When will this come into picture? Let's assume you are into a pharma industry or a food manufacturing, that is food product manufacturing or selling industry. So you might purchase these products in batches from your vendors wherein an expiry date will be involved. So whenever you're bringing in these batches, it's very much important to know the expiry date to ensure that the sales is done before the expiry date. So in those cases, if you want to keep a track of the batches and the expiry dates and to know which batch is currently available, which you have sold out, batch tracking is very important. This can be enabled. Just go to settings. There under items, once you enable the inventory tracking, you will find an option called advanced inventory tracking. There you will find enable serial number and batch tracking. So let's talk more about batch tracking right now, and then we'll go on to serial number tracking. So I've enabled the batch tracking now, and I've allowed the duplicate batch numbers as well. Now, whenever I create an item, I can enable the batches for you. So I've already created an item. If you want to view the batch tracked items, I can use the filter called batch tracked items here. So this will display all the batch number tracked items. So I'm just clicking on it. let me show the item, how the batch tracking can be enabled. So I have given all the basic information required to create an item like the name, the sales, purchase informations, and I've enabled the inventory tracking. Now I have an option to track the batches. So you need to click on this radio button, select the inventory account, and you'll have to save it. Similarly, if you have entered the opening stock, for those opening stock also you can enter the batches. So just click on this and click on add batches. So you can see that I've added 2 batches here. This batch reference number is nothing but the batch number which we use in Zoho Books for our internal reference. Manufacturer batch is nothing but the manufacturer batch number which the vendor has provided us. Manufacture date is the date on which the product has been manufactured. Expiry date, this is very important. We should know when the expiry date of the product is so that we can clear it out of our inventory. And how much quantity is corresponding to each batch. All of these details can be entered. Now that we have seen how to associate batch while creating an item, let me show you how to associate batches when you are creating a particular transaction, that is your sales or purchase transaction. So whenever you're creating a bill, you can just select the vendor. You can give the required details. Now let me select a batch tagged item. So how much of a quantity I'm purchasing, you can add the batches right away here. You can enter the batch reference number, the manufacturer batch, the manufacturer date, also the expiry date and the quantity in. This quantity might come from different batches, right? So I can add different batches here and you can save it. So all these details can be viewed in the batch details report. When I run the batch details report, I can see what items are batch tracked and what are the various batches associated to this item. Similarly, what is the status of the item and other details like the manufacturer batch number, the manufacturer date, the expiry date. So when you check the expiry date, you would know if the product is still in good status where you can sell it, or if it has already been expired, so that you can clear it out of your inventory. This report can also be customized. For instance, it can be customized based on your expiry date. So you can see the products which are expiring in this month. If it has already been expired, you can clear it out of your warehouse. If it is yet to expire, you can sell this batch first. You can also filter it based on your manufacture date. You can see which products have been manufactured in the corresponding month. You can even customize it for each warehouse or just a single item. Now that we have seen about batch tracking, we have one more tracking which is available, that is nothing but the serial number tracking. Once we enabled the batch tracking, we were able to find an option serial number tracking, right? So under items, we have this option called serial number tracking. So what is this serial number tracking? Similar to batch tracking, we have an option called serial number tracking. Let me show you one serial number item. If you take any electronic goods like laptops or phones, for instance, you will have an individual number corresponding to each product. Even though if it is of the same variant, you will have an individual. For instance, for mobile phones, we have an IMEI number. So each of this has a unique number, right? How to bring in those numbers? So that can be done via serial tracking. So I have entered a product, all the necessary informations, and then I've enabled the track serial number option for this product. Similarly, I have 5 opening stock. I can enter the serial numbers using add serial number option. All of this serial number should have a unique value. Now I can save this. So whenever I click on this, I can see there are 5 serial numbers associated for 5 quantities. All of these items can be checked under the items module itself using the filter called serialized number. Serialized items. So you can use this filter to view the items which are serial number tracked. Just like how we associated batches in our sales invoices and purchase bills, you can associate the serial numbers also. Now let's assume you have created batch tracked items, serial number tracked items, and you have created transactions also, but you have missed to update these numbers there. So is there an option to keep in track of those missed transactions wherein the batch number or serial number has to be updated? Yes, we do have a report called Missed Advanced Inventory Tracking Details. You can use this report to see if the items are not associated with any batch number or serial number in any of the transactions. Here I can see these items have been associated, that is paracetamol and iPhone 15 are associated in the few transactions wherein the missing quantity is nothing but the batch number or serial number which has to be associated for this quantity. I can directly click from here. You can see that you can update the advanced tracking details. You can just click on update details here and you can enter the batch details, which batch this product has been sent out. Whenever I select the batch, automatically the manufacturer batch number and the expiry date will appear. So now you can see this product has already expired, so I cannot select from this batch, and I'm going to be selecting it from the next batch. So the expiry date is higher here, so I can select it from this batch. Now we have covered two reports, the batch details report and the missing advanced tracking details. We also learned about the batch number tracking and serial number tracking feature. Next report what we have is the warehouse report. So before going into this report, let me introduce what is a warehouse to you. We are already aware about the branch feature which is available in Zoho Books, wherein for different franchises of your organization you create branches. Similarly, there is a warehouse option which can be enabled under settings. These warehouses are basically the stock tracking godowns or warehouses you have, wherein the stock is kept and you dispatch it to your customers or you purchase from your vendors using that particular warehouse. So you can enable the warehouses under settings and you can create the number of warehouses you require. And also let me introduce about some advanced inventory modules which are available corresponding to this report. So in Zoho Books, we are all aware that we create a quotation first and then we create a sales order once the customer confirms it, and then we create an invoice to finish our sales. However, in real time, this is not the general process, right? There are multiple intermediate steps involved wherein you create a sales order and when you send the product to the customers. So enabling advanced inventory tracking will help you to streamline this process, and it will help you to keep a track exactly where the stock is right now and has it reached the customer or not. So for example, let me take this sales order. Once the customer has placed an order to me and he has confirmed it, so I have created a sales order for this classmate notebook. Once it is created, I need to send a person from my warehouse to pick these items, right? So for that, I create a pick list. Let me just create a sales order for you. So this customer has placed an order in my organization for the particular item called classmate notebook. So he has confirmed the sales order also. Once it is confirmed, now I need to pick this from my warehouse to send it to the customer. For that, I am creating a pick list. I assign an internal user from my organization to pick this item. I can add any internal notes if required and I can generate the pick list. Once the person has successfully picked up the item, I can set the status as completed. Now the item has been picked from my warehouse. Next, what I'll have to do before sending it to the customer, I'll have to pack it. I'm just creating a package, entering all details and I'm saving it. Now my package is ready and now we'll have to ship this item. I can directly go to shipments to check what are the shipments which I've already done. And also I can check the packages to see what packages are ready and which is not shipped. The packages which are shipped but it has not yet been delivered, it is in transit, and the delivered packages to my customers. So let me take this. This package is yet to be shipped. I just ship it. Here I can ship it manually or I can ship it via courier. So I'm shipping it manually right now. I can select my courier. You can enter the tracking number and tracking URL if any, and you can save this. Once the shipment is created successfully, you can set various statuses based on the transit of goods. I can click on mark as delivered drop down and see update shipment status. Here you can associate various status. For instance, if it is in transit, you can select it as in transit, or if it is out for delivery on that day, you can select it as out for delivery, and various other statuses are available here. Now if my shipment is successfully delivered, I can mark it as delivered. After this, I can create an invoice to account my sales. So I can directly go to the sales order and I can see there is a pick list created and a package created. Now this pick list is already been delivered, so it confirms that I can convert it to an invoice directly. Similarly, in purchases, we create purchase orders to place our orders to our vendors. So let me show how this purchase is also tracked. I'm trying to place an order for the same item. Now once this purchase order is created, I'm not sure if my inventory has been received in my warehouse or not. To track it, I can create a purchase receive. This purchase receive will help us to track where the goods is exactly and where the item is exactly in. I can either save it as received or I can save it in transit. So now I'm just saving it as received, which demarcates that the item has reached my warehouse and it is currently available for sale. My purchase receive is successfully created. Once this purchase receive is created, I can convert it to a bill directly using this option, convert to bill. Now we have seen how the sales and your purchase process is streamlined using these advanced modules. Now as per stock tracking, what is the difference here or how this would be helpful is, we have two types of stocks here. One is the physical stock and the other one is the accounting stock. So if you are using Zoho Books, we only track the accounting stock, which is nothing but your sales invoices and purchase bills. As and when you create a sales invoice or a purchase bill, your stock in and stock out would be tracked and then your stock on hand would be updated accordingly. This physical stock comes into picture when you are using this advanced inventory add-on, which is nothing but you can track physically if the stock is available in your warehouse or not. This is using the shipments and the purchase receipts which we discussed right now. So whenever a shipment is created, it means the stock has gone out of your warehouse, and if you have created a purchase receipt, it means the stock has been successfully received in your warehouse. So accordingly, the physical stock and the accounting stock will get updated. So you can see that in the accounting stock, I can see 11 quantity on hand, 4 is committed and 7 is available for sale, which means I have 11 stock on hand for which I have invoices and bills created, 4 sales orders for which it is confirmed and invoices or bills are not yet created. Similarly, the available for sale is nothing but stock on hand minus your committed stock. So 7 is available for sale. Physical stock is that I have created my shipments or receipts for 9 products only, and there are 0 sales orders, and available for sale is 9. So how to keep a track of all these details? Is there an option to view all these physical stock, accounting stock details in a single report? Yes, we have the warehouse details report. So this warehouse report will help you analyze the quantity out, quantity in based on your physical stock or accounting stock. So you can select the mode of stock tracking. For now, I am keeping my mode of stock tracking as bills and invoices, which is nothing but your accounting stock. So here I can see there is a classmate notebook. So in my warehouse, currently the quantity ordered is 12. Quantity ordered means you have created a purchase order and the purchase order is not yet billed. Those quantity would come under quantity ordered. Quantity in is that you have created bills for these items. So those bills will come under quantity in. Next up, we have quantity out. So you have created invoices associating the classmate notebook and the quantity is 8. Stock on hand is your quantity in minus your quantity out. So there are 11 products which are currently available. Committed stock here demarcates you have created sales orders which are yet to be invoiced. The sales order is confirmed by the customer but it is yet to be invoiced. So that will come under committed stock. Finally, available for sale is the quantity, that is your stock on hand minus your committed stock, that is 7 quantity. This is based on your accounting stock. Now let me customize the report based on my physical stock, that is based on my shipments and receives. So when I customize it based on my shipment and receipt for the same classman notebook, I can see the quantity ordered is 10. Here the quantity order demarcates the purchase orders which you have created which are yet to be received. So those are quantity ordered. Quantity in is the purchase receives you have created for this item. Quantity out is the shipments you have created. Stock on hand is the quantity in minus your quantity out. Committed stock here is 0, which means you have created purchase orders and all the purchase orders have already been converted into receipts. So the committed stock here is 0. Available for sale is again your stock on hand minus your committed stock. These details can be viewed in this report. There are a few other customizations here as well. The first thing which we discussed was the mode of stock tracking, and second one is you can customize this report for the required time period. Also, you can check it for various warehouse status, if your warehouse is active or inactive, and the stock availability. This would be highly helpful to replenish your stock. For instance, if your stock availability is less than or equal to 0, you can check what stocks are currently 0 in your warehouse so that you can replenish your inventory. You can place your orders and you can replenish your inventory here. So this is the warehouse report. This report can be exported in the form of PDF or XLS, and it can be stored as an offline record in your system. When you're exporting it also, we have quite some options. You can protect it with a password. So you can just check this box and you can enter the required password. If you want to customize the details in your export file, you can use this option wherein you can include your generated time, your generated date, details, etc. You can also print this report using the print icon. And we have quite a number of users in our organization. For some of the users, the reports module might not be accessible. But if you wish to share this particular report with them, you can use the share option. So I can just select the user. I can select what permissions this particular user should have pertaining to this report. They can view it only, view and export, or if they can view, export and schedule. And I can just click share. So for these two users, I have shared my report and with the required permissions. Now we saw this report, how this report can be useful for you, and you can see how this report can help you track your inventory which is available in your different warehouses. So you can keep an eye on what inventory is currently available in your warehouse, how it can be replenished, or if there are any fast moving items, you can keep a track of it. Every time it would be difficult for us to export this report manually and send it across to our required people, right? So for that, it would be highly helpful if you can automate this report in their mailboxes. We do have an option called scheduled report here. When I click on scheduled report, I can select the frequency on which the schedule has to be done. For instance, I can use a weekly schedule. I can enter the start date and time, at what time this mail has to be sent, and I can enter the email recipients, whichever user has to receive this report. I can also add additional recipients. Not necessarily all the members of your organization can be a part of your Zoho Books organization. If you want to send this report to any of the person outside your organization who is not added as a user, you can use this additional recipient option. You can just type in their email address and you can schedule this report. Also, you can select the attached format if you want it as PDF or CSV or XLS, and you can schedule this report. With this, we have spoken about the advanced inventory modules available in Zoho Books and how the various reports can be utilized. So to have a quick recap, we initially discussed about how to enable the inventory add-on, that is advanced inventory tracking modules in Zoho Books. Next up, we discussed about the batch number tracking and the serial number tracking, how it can be created and how the batches or serial numbers can be associated. We discussed upon the batch details and the missing advanced inventory tracking details report. Lastly, spoke about the sales and the purchase transactions, the various modules which helps us to streamline the process of sales and purchase, and the corresponding warehouse report. We also spoke about the physical stock and the accounting stock tracking, which is done based on your transactions. Now let's dive into the second part of this reports webinar. There's nothing but the landlord cost summary and the ABC classification. These two reports are available as a native inventory module in Zoho Books itself. You need not enable the advanced inventory tracking feature for this. So first, let me explain the landlord cost. What is a landlord cost and when do you use a landlord cost? You purchase items from your vendors, right? So whenever you're purchasing an item, you could purchase it for a certain cost. It may be, say for instance, you're purchasing an item of value 1000 rupees. But before that stock reaches your warehouse, there could be many additional charges which will increase the value of the item. For example, you could have a transportation charge, say 100 rupees. Now the actual value which you spent before bringing the stock to your place is 1100. Correct. So this 1100 has to be accounted instead of 1000. So to increase the asset value of the item, we use the landlord cost option. How to enable this landlord cost? You can just go to settings, preferences. Under items, once you enable the inventory option, you will find track landlord cost on items. You can just enable this option and save it. Now whenever you're creating a purchase bill, you will have an option to add the landlord cost. Let me show you. So I have created a bill wherein I have entered the basic details, the vendor details. Now I'm buying a laptop. Let me assume I'm purchasing 2 quantities of laptop and there is a transportation charge involved here. So I've used this option add landlord cost to add my landlord cost details. There is, say for instance, there is a transportation charge of 1000 involved. So my actual asset value for this item is 2 lakhs, but wherein there is a 1000 rupee charge involved for transportation. Now this has to be accounted, this also has to be included for this particular item. So let me just save this. Now I have saved this bill. I'm just converting it to open. Now when I check my journal entries, I can see the inventory asset value is only 2000. But the actual value which I have incurred is 2 lakh 1,000. So how can I increase the asset value of the item here? I can apply my landlord cost. I can use this allocate landlord cost option. So there are quite some methods used for this allocation. We have a quantity, we have value based on the dimensions of the item or the weight of the item. Currently I'm using quantity. I'm allocating it to all items. So this 1000 rupee is allocated to both my laptops. I'm just clicking on save. Now this landlord cost, the transportation charge is allocated. If I check my journal entry right now, you can see the inventory asset value has been increased. So it has been debited. Let me show the inventory report as well. So I'm just checking out the inventory valuation summary report for this item laptop. You can see the unit cost for the particular item has increased. Sorry, it was initially 1 lakh, but now this 500 rupee charge has also been added up and the unit cost of the item has increased. The landlord cost summary report helps you to track all these details. It will tell you for which bills landlord cost has been created, and the allocated amount is the amount which you have entered as landlord cost. And if you have already allocated it to any of the bills, it will come under allocated amount. If it is yet to be allocated, it will come as unallocated amount. You can view all the details here. The bill to which the amount is allocated is also displayed here. You can just click on this bill to view the same. So it is not necessary that you will have to create a bill and allocate it to the same bill only, because there are certain cases wherein your transportation charges might be handled by a different vendor and the bill would originally be from another vendor. So you can create the landlord cost in one bill and you can even allocate it to a different vendor's bill. Now we have seen the landlord cost summary report. Now we can check the ABC classification report. So what is an ABC classification report and how does it help you? ABC classification report basically helps you to identify which items are more critical in your inventory and how you can allocate your resources for this particular item. So you can customize this report. I'm just dividing this report into 3 classes: class A, class B and class C. These percentages can be customized based on your requirement. So I'm giving here the percentage as 70, 20 and 10. I'm classifying it based on my quantity. There are two customizations here. One is your quantity which you have sold, and the second one is the usage value. Usage value is nothing but your items sold into the selling price. Some of the items sold into your selling price. Now we can see that some of these items, let me just use this option. I'll explain about the previous class. Now we can see that these items are divided into three classes, A, B and C. How is this class being derived? Firstly, the cumulative share of these items would be calculated. The cumulative share is nothing but, now you can see the cumulative value, the number of items I've sold, the number of t-shirts I've sold is 9 here. Similarly, I've sold the other quantity which I've sold is displayed. This report is purely based on your invoice transactions. It doesn't take your bills. It's only based on your invoice transactions. Now, this particular value, how the cumulative share is arrived is 9 divided by the total of this cumulative value is nothing but my cumulative share. All the cumulative share for each of these items is calculated and it is arranged in the descending order. Now, whatever quantity, when I add up the first 4 items, you can see the total is below 70. So if the total for these 4 items is less than or equal to 70, in that case it will be classified as class A. For the next item, it will add up to this total and see if it is less than or equal to 90, because the second class percentage I have given is 20 here. So 70 plus 20 is 90. So it will add up the first 5 items and see if it is less than or equal to 90. If it is less than or equal to 90, it will come under class B. So now I can see these 6 items are bifurcated as class A and class B. When I add the 7th item, the percentage exceeds 90. So all the other items come under class C. So this will help you to analyze which item you are selling on a higher basis and what is the cumulative share of that item in your sale. If you want to compare this current class with your previous class, for instance, what was the last month's class? I'm just customizing this report for the previous month. You can see some items here are in class A and some in class B, but the remaining are in class C. But in this month's report, there has been a change. If you want to compare these two, we have an option of importing it. So let me show you how. I'm exporting this report. And now I can just go to this month. I can import the previously exported report. I can select my file. I can map all the column headers and click next. Once I imported, the data of the previous month is imported here. To view the previous class, I can go to Customize Report, Show or Hide Columns. I can add this previous class and I can run the report. Now you can see these items, the class which was previously in and now what class it is currently in. So now you can see that previously these 4 items were in class C, but now they are in class A. So these items require more resource and a concentration, and these are fast moving right now. There has been an improvement in sales. The other customization in this report includes, as we already discussed, you can customize it for various date range. You can classify it based on the quantity or the usage value. You can also customize the different percentages here. The total has to be 100, so you can give the bifurcations as however you want to. You can customize this for a specific item only based on certain criteria for items. So we have come to the end of the session. Let me give you a quick recap of the reports which we discussed right now. We discussed about landed cost, how landed cost can be useful for you and how to allocate landed cost, how to view the landed cost summary report, and lastly we discussed about the ABC classification report, which will help you identify the products which require more attention and which are high selling right now. So I hope this was a useful session. So now we have a question. Can you please show how to ship via courier? So once the package is created, you can see the packages which is yet to be shipped. You can just click on it and you can click on ship. Shipping manually is entering the shipping details like your tracking ID and number manually and selecting your delivery partner. But we have this ship via courier option wherein we have certain integrations with some of the delivery partners. I can set up these integrations under the settings integrations page. You can, these three partners, Aftership, UPS and USPS are available. For the other delivery partners, EC Post is also available. For other delivery partners, you can check out our marketplace extensions. So when you click on it, the details would be fetched automatically. We have a question here from Mr. Manish. Can we record specific wastage of items or keep a track of it? So to track the wastage of items, we have multiple options here, but it purely depends upon the use case. Please share us your use case to our support email address so that we can help you better. Next, we have a question from Mr. Arun. Zoho Books and Zoho Inventory are different apps. Yes, we have two different applications called Zoho Books and Zoho Inventory. Zoho Books is primarily an accounting application wherein we have the basic inventory tracking features available with it. You can create an inventory item and track the inventory. However, Zoho Inventory is used for stock tracking purposes, wherein the batch tracking, the details which we discussed today are available. But using the advanced inventory add-on, you can bring in those native modules as inventory to Zoho Books itself. And the reports which we discussed today will be available in Zoho Books. Next, we have a question from Mr. Girish. Madam, can we have two branches in one Zoho Books for an invoice? No, you cannot associate two branches in the same invoice. All your transactions, you will have to select any one of the branches because they would be accounted for that specific branch separately. Next up, we have a question from Mr. Sagar. What are the effect of inventory adjustment? So inventory adjustment basically are used to increase or decrease your stock or the value of the item. It will get reflected in the reports correspondingly. So the next question is, how can we form budget versus actual diagram and dashboard? So the budget versus actual report is already available with us. You can refer it in the budgets section of reports, wherein you can compare your budget versus actuals. In dashboard, you will not be able to view it. In dashboard, it cannot be added. However, you can view the budget versus actuals report to get the details. Next week, we are going to have a detailed session of the accountant, budgets, banking, and the currency reports. So you can just join that webinar to get more insights on the same. Next, we have a question from Mr. Sanjay. How to bifurcate overseas purchase and local purchase in Zoho Books? Is there any report available? So there are multiple options to track this purchase. You can create a reporting tag in Zoho Books and you can associate these tags whenever you're creating an purchase for your overseas or local. You can track the reports based on the reporting tags, or you can even create different different accounts in your chart of accounts to track these purchases. Like you can create an account to track your overseas purchase and you can create an account to track your local purchase so that you can customize the reports accordingly. Or you can even add a custom field in your bills. You can give a drop down custom field and you can select if it's a local purchase or an overseas purchase so that you can get the bill details report accordingly. Next, we have a question from Mr. Manish. How can we see the particular or single stock item closing or how much item is left at the end of the month? We have the stock summary report which can be referred in this case. So under inventory, we have the stock summary report which will tell you the closing stock for the corresponding period. So if it is for this month, you can select it as this month. If you're checking it for the previous month, you can select it as previous month. Here you can see the closing stock for all the items. You can use the filter to customize it according to your requirement. That is, if you want to view it only for a specific item, you can use this filter. If you want to view the asset value as well of this closing stock, you can always refer the inventory valuation summary report. This report will give you the stock on hand currently, which is nothing but your closing stock, and also the inventory asset value corresponding to this stock. Next, we have a question from Mr. Prakash. How to write off stocks? To write off stocks, we have an option called inventory adjustments. So in the items module itself, you have inventory adjustments. If you want to write off a stock of a particular item, you can pass a quantity adjustment, enter the date, select the required account. You can give the required reason you can select the item which has to be written off, and the new quantity on hand can be entered as 0. Now when I convert it to adjusted, this quantity is written off, and in my inventory reports it will show as 0. So I have written off this item named eraser. Let me show it to you in the inventory report. So if you check this report, the stock on hand is 0, and similarly the asset value has also become 0. So next we have a question, COGS of the product, how it is getting calculated. In Zoho Books we follow the FIFO method, that is your first in and first out method. Let me show it to you. So in Zoho Books we follow the FIFO tracking. All the items whichever you have created transactions for the inventory item will be listed in this report named FIFO cost lot tracking. So whichever stock came in first will go out first. So here you can see that in the invoice number 10, I have associated the item called eraser, and it has been taken from this particular bill. So if I check the invoice COGS impacted, it will be based on the bill value I have entered. Let me show you. I'm just opening this invoice and the bill. Now in this invoice, I can see the cost of goods sold impacted is 13,475. I have multiple items here again. So here the value of the eraser is given as 0.10, and here the COGS value for the total items is being posted. If I check the bill corresponding to that particular item, I can see the inventory asset value is 5. So this particular value will only be impacted in the cost of goods sold for this particular item. Next up, we have a question from Mr. Chinnasamy. How to transfer inward amount to vendor account? Please clarify. So I hope you are referring to the payments which you have made to your vendor, or if you are referring to the refunds which you have received from your vendor. If you are referring to your payments done, you can just go to the particular bill and you can record the payment directly. You can just go to purchases bills and you can record the payment directly using the record payment option. If the vendor has refunded you any of the amount, or if there was a purchase return, for that you can create a vendor credit. In case of a purchase return, you can just create a vendor credit and you can associate the items which are being returned, or if there is a post sales discount, I can just give it as post sales discount. So once this vendor credit is created, this will be reflected as unused credits. This can be refunded. If the vendor is giving the money back to you, it can be refunded. So once I refund this particular amount will be reflected in my corresponding bank or cash account. Next up, we have a question from Ms. Sai Tejasvi. If you have 100 quantities at rupees 10 in branch 1 and you have transferred 10 quantities to branch 2, then at what price my COGS in branch 2 will be reflecting? So this 100 quantity might be from different bills or opening stock which you have, right? So whatever is first. Now for instance, if there is an opening stock, when you're transferring the 10 quantities to branch 2, if these 10 are from opening stock, the opening stock rate per unit you have, whatever you have entered in the item module will be taken. Or if it is from a bill, the corresponding bill value will be taken. You can always refer the FIFO report to check from which bill or which opening stock it has been taken, so that the COGS value will get impacted accordingly. So I hope we have answered all of your questions. Thank you so much for participating in this webinar today. I hope this session was useful. This is an 11-part webinar series. We are in the 6th session today. Next week we are going to discuss about the accountant module reports, the currency, banking and the budgets. So you can also join those reports to get more insights of these reports. So thank you so much for joining in us here today, and you've been a supportive audience. Thank you guys.